WrestlingWithSmarks.com. The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Coming to the microphone, broadcasting from an undisclosed location. He is your host and magnanimous voice of the internet wrestling community. Please welcome Hollywood Cleveland. Wow, I really made it. I am here on top of the podcasting world with my own podcast. Welcome to the first episode. Before we get started, go ahead and enjoy my theme music. This is money well spent. I like this. Well, I want to welcome everybody to the very first, and the one and only Wrestling With Smarks Podcast. I am your magnanimous host and voice of the internet wrestling community. Thank you. I know you're at home or at the gym or in your cars clapping and giving it up for me. Allow me to Allow me to introduce myself. I am the greatest backyard and front yard wrestler that you've never heard of. I am the longest reigning and defending. Well, I was at the time. I'm retired now. But at the time, I was the longest reigning, defending, and undefeated 177th Street and Harvard heavyweight champion, with a luxurious reign of 7 years, never to be duplicated, often tried to be replicated, and don't even think of trying to imitate it. Now, my theme music is still playing. Oh, it just cut out. Beautiful. That's perfect. It's like they say, when you have the it factor, it can't be taught to you. You're either born with it or you're not. And it just, you see just how I just felt that my theme music was supposed to be over and it ended. That's what happens when you're great. Anyway, well, like myself, are interested in the things that are going on in world wrestling entertainment and various parts of professional wrestling, then, I would like to think this will be the place that you can come to get the info that you'll find useful and hopefully somewhat entertaining. Now, as I said, I'm the greatest backyard and front yard wrestler you never heard of, and let me tell you what basically is going to happen on this podcast. Every Monday night, I'm going to recap the various things that happen in wrestling. I'm going to add my own 4 cents, not 2 cents, but 4 cents, because my opinion is more valuable than yours. And to see if I can turn this podcast into something valuable for you, the listener, or if you're deaf or something, the watcher, and you're getting this signed to you via sign language. You know what I'm saying. And also, being a former backyard wrestler, front yard wrestler, and being a member of the small fraternal brotherhood that is the Brotherhood of Wrestlers, I would like to turn this podcast into a visit, not a visit, but into being involved in the main event at WrestleMania. Excuse me, I had to grab a drink. Now, I know that to be realistic at this age and my body being beat up as it is, from the 7-year reign of putting it down, beating jabronis all the way up and down 177th Street and all up and down Harvard Avenue. It took its toll on my body. So, I don't have to go in there and win the championship or anything. I could ring the bell, or I could be the special guest ring announcer or commentator, or I could pose with Hulk Hogan, or anything like that. But I would like to be involved with WrestleMania, and if I could parlay this podcast into that, and while giving you, the listeners, and the fellow fans of professional wrestling something that you like to listen to, then I don't have a problem with that. Now, here are some of the segments that you can expect to have on the Wrestling with Smarks podcast. And you can get more information at wrestlingwithsmarks.com. That's where you can go to get the show notes and some of the other stuff that we're going to have on the site. So be sure to check it out, join the mailing list, and, stay in touch or whatever. Kind of new to this whole podcasting thing, and I haven't been on the mic in probably about 10 years since I've worked a live crowd. So bear with me. And if you don't, it's your loss and you're a loser. Now, let's see here. Going to get into this week's news and rumors and headlines. Couple things that piqued my interest. You might not give a crap about it, or you might. All right. Now, over at the bleacherreport.com there was an article written by one of my favorite writers, Big Nasty. He wrote an article titled Roman Reigns' weaknesses are being hidden as a member of the Shield. And while I'm shouting out Big Nasty, I also want to shout out Sharon Glenn Cross at bleacherreport.com also. I don't know why I want to say the Bleacher Report. It sounds better that way. They should think about rebranding that. You're welcome, Bleacher Report. Anyway, shout out to them. Big Nasty. Been following him for years, and I love Sharon Glenn Cross because the comments on her articles are always a fascinating read. Anyway, to get to the point, Big Nasty was basically saying that less is more with Roman Reigns. That last Monday on Raw, not tonight, but last Monday, that when the Shield was prominently featured on that particular episode due to Daniel Bryan being out, that he was kind of exposed when he was shooting his promo. That he came off as underwhelming and didn't perform as well as Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins did, which I completely agree with. So after reading that, I had to ask myself, is Roman Reigns ready for the main event? I apologize to anybody who heard that. I just bumped my microphone. That's if you can't see it, but I'm doing this at the undisclosed location in the studios of Wrestling with Smarks Podcast, which consists of my dining room table, and my boom mic is like literally 2 inches from my stomach, and if I stand up, it would probably catch me in the nads. So yeah. No one ever said backyard wrestling was a lucrative career. That's for sure. Anyway, ask myself, is Roman Reigns ready for the main event? Because if you'd asked me that question in January during the Royal Rumble, when he was throwing wrestler after wrestler over the top rope, and the crowd was getting pumped as it looked like he was getting closer and closer to headlining WrestleMania, I said to myself, this guy is ready. And then for a split second, I had to ask myself, because I don't know what this feels like, but I had to ask myself, did I make a mistake? I see people do it all the time, you know what I'm saying? And, it's like things you hear about, like aliens and the Bermuda Triangle and stuff. But if you never experienced for yourself, all you can do is just, take the other people's word for it or write them off as crazy or whatever. I don't know. I've never been to the Bermuda Triangle, and I've never seen an alien. But nevertheless, or at least something that, resembled an alien. Superman is an alien, and he looks just like, he looks just like one of the guys I see at the gym all the time. Heck, could be Superman, who knows? Anyway, I digress. I thought he was ready for the main event. The spear, while some people do have spear fatigue, because, you had Christian doing it right after Edge retired it. Batista came back. That was part of his repertoire. Roman Reigns does it. So it's a lot of spearing going on in WWE. But when he does it, I still jump out of my seat. I love it. It's awesome. Superman punch, but I don't know why it's called the Superman punch, because, Superman's best punch is a double fist, fly straight at your face punch. But, I'm not a booker with the WWE. Yes, I said booker. I don't know what's wrong with them. The heck is a writer. Anyway, so when you go back and listen to Reigns' more extended promos, they do leave something to be desired. They sometimes they just, especially when he's doing it in the midst of the great Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, the architect of the Shield. The architect of the Shield. I love that group, that gimmick. Anyway, you have to wonder. My money always was on Dean Ambrose as being the, if I had to put my money on any of those three, it would be on Dean Ambrose, because he gets it as a face and as a heel. Now, I know there's some fans who are listening who don't know what that means, and basically that's carny speak for me and my fellow wrestlers in the Brotherhood. So, I'm going to protect the business. If you don't know what that means, what heel and babyface means, then you're not going to find out here on this podcast. I don't break kayfabe here, folks. I'm the greatest backyard wrestler you never heard of, and the magnanimous voice of the internet wrestling community. That's who I am, Hollywood, Cleveland. Look it up. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Anyway, so to make a long segment short and to move it on, uh, I'm not ready to write off Roman Reigns just yet. I don't think he's ready to headline SummerSlam like I think Antonio Cesaro is, but I think if we give him some time, he might be ready. This is Vicky Vine. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna pause the podcast. That was the lovely Mickey. That was the lovely Vicky Vine calling. She's running late to the podcast. That's my wife, and she's going to be joining us later. We'll see. Anyway, where was I? Reigns isn't Cesaro ready, but he might be ready in a year, 2 years. I'm not ready to give up on him just yet. Also, AJ Lee, former WWE Divas champion, and if I'm not mistaken, the longest reigning Divas champion in history at 200 blah 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 days, is getting married soon. She's getting married to CP Monk, I believe it is, or Phil Brooks, something like that. Anyway, she's getting married. Congrats to Mr. and Mrs. Lee. I hope they have a wonderful marriage and a good life together. Now, this is something that normally I would be like, okay, big deal, but I have a feeling this is going to be interesting. Now, all over the internet, I came across multiple articles that was talking about how Vince McMahon was no longer a billionaire again. I guess after WWE renewed their contract with NBC Universal to carry Raw, SmackDown, and whatever else is part of that contract, that it was TLDR, too long didn't read. Dang it. I don't know what all is included in that, but apparently NBC owns Sci-Fi Network. Go figure. But so shows are staying home, and but yeah, so apparently the deal was less than what Vince was telling the investors and stockholders and blah 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 that it was going to be. It was still more than the last contract. I think it was even double the last contract, but it wasn't as much. And the WWE stock dropped faster than Chyna's wrestling career after Triple H kicked her to the curb. And you know how fast that was. Now, that's not even the fascinating part, to me anyway. The fascinating part to me is that this investment firm by the name of Lemelson Capital, I don't know, I guess I'm saying it right. It's spelled Lemelson Capital investment firm. They were initially short on the WWE stock. Now, for those who don't speak financial investment stock market mumbo jumbo, you can take two positions on a stock. You can be short on the stock, which means you put money up on it and invest in it, banking on it to go down in price. Or you can be long on the stock, which means that you hold a stock and you expect it to increase in value or go up in price. Now, this Lehman Capital was short on the WWE stock prior to the collapse. And then they bought some WWE stock, became long on it, and then in true something straight out of a episode of Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Nitro or whatever else, Ring of Honor or Impact, whatever floats your boat or whatever rocks your ship with a P, because this podcast is safe for work. Oh shoot, brain fart. Um, yeah. Oh yeah. So straight out of a wrestling episode, they buy a bunch of stock and then they release a report saying that WWE needs to change ownership or their board of directors. It almost comes off as the beginnings of a hostile takeover. Now, Vince is not dumb. I believe him and his family own combined. I don't know. They definitely have a majority, obviously, but it would take an act of God for a hostile takeover to happen. But just think about the type of pressure that this puts on Vince and the board of directors and WWE. That I always thought outside of, if you're a non-wrestler, turn down the volume for about 30 seconds. I need to speak to my brothers for a second. My wrestling brothers. Gone? Good. I think that outside of Vince openly and for some crazy reason breaking kayfabe, the worst decision besides that and how they handled buying WCW and the invasion angle, OMG, going public was the worst thing that WWE could have did. Vince McMahon purposely gave himself a boss. That's what he did. And, who knows why he did it? I mean, most people do it for the cash infusion and, all that other stuff that comes with taking companies public. Just dibble and dabble a little bit, as I travel the road and tell people about my life of being a backyard and front yard wrestler. I hear things and pick up on things. It's just interesting that 1 minute they were short on the company, then they're long on it, and not only did they go long on it, but now they're barking orders. Keep an eye on this one, folks. Anyway, enough about that. I'm going to go ahead and get into the Monday Night Raw recap. But before I do that, I want to take this time to introduce the very lovely, the very special, and the very dear to me, Vicky Vine. Say hello to the podcast, Vicky.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Kind of nervous, but...
Good. You kind of nervous? I never would have guessed. You look like you're ready to do this like Brutus.
Yes.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. Well, so for those who didn't see Monday Night Raw last night, it opened up from London's very own O2 Arena. And the opening segment we saw Bray Wyatt coming out, and he was singing, "He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the..." he was singing that, and then all the English people, all the Londoners or whatever, was joining along, singing and whatnot, and eating it up. And I got to give my props to Bray. He's been bringing it strong consistently for the last few months, and he's come a long way since being Husky Harris. What are your thoughts on Bray Wyatt, Vicky Vine?
He's a great team player.
He's a great team player. Does he freak you out?
Not anymore.
Oh, very good. There was a time where Vicky Vine used to get the creeps from Bray Wyatt, but we won't get into that. I'm here right now. So anyway, one of my favorite parts of this particular segment was the Cena sucks chant that broke out. Now, we're used to the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks. Well, tonight it was mostly Cena sucks. Cena sucks. Cena sucks. And now keep in mind this is overseas. Now here in the States, the chants appear to be more neutral, except for cities like Chicago, where WWE Payback is going to be in 13 days. Send me a check, Vince. But over here, it's like Cena got very, very little love. So, I found that particularly interesting. And, so anyway, Bray's singing, he's doing his promo, whipping the crowd into a frenzy. Cena, he comes out, he sneaks in attitude adjustment and slips out the ring before Rowan and Harper could get his hands on him, you know what I'm saying? And so he managed to escape that particular attack. I don't think he was here for that, Vicky Vine at the time, but So anyway, that was the opening segment. After they came back from the break, Antonio Cesaro was in the ring with Paul Heyman. Now, this pairing has not rubbed me the right way. Antonio Cesaro, he was on a good projection to the main event without Paul Heyman, and it seems like after he's gotten with him, his career seemed to stagnate. He doesn't do the big swing anymore. His theme song sucks. What do you think about his theme song, Vicky Vine?
It sucks.
See, even Vicky Vine thinks it sucks. So, and then whenever Paul Heyman cuts a promo, he trolls us about how Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now, that's all fine and good and stuff, but it's like, who are you trying to get heat for it, yourself or Cesaro? And then he manages to work Cesaro in at the end of the promo or whatever, but it's like, okay, yay, let's boo the guy that's hasn't been on TV since the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And by the way, I was all for the streak ending. And, it's even more hilarious that it was Brock Lesnar who did it, but I'm just saying. The streak. Can you believe the streak is over?
I can't really believe it.
What? When you saw the legitimate end of an era, what was your reaction?
My heart stopped. I looked around. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I gotta agree. My mouth was stuck open like my dude in the internet meme going around with the glasses. Shout outs to the street guy, is what they call him. He's no Miz girl, but shout out to the Miz. Awesome. So anyway, we're almost 30 minutes in. I'm gonna try to keep this going. I just enjoyed. Oh, sorry. So anyway, Heyman finishes his promo. Out comes Sheamus, and Sheamus gets booed mercilessly. Now, I read Sheamus is supposed to be a heel now, but I haven't really noticed him exhibit any heel-like behavior unless, something's been going on SmackDown, which I've missed the last couple of weeks, so there is that possibility. But in London, though, he got a nice healthy amount of boos, so I'm guessing it's probably because he's Irish and it's the whole Ireland versus England thing. So anyway, Cesaro and Sheamus, they end up having a pretty decent match. It was some good back and forth. It looks like Cesaro's going to be using his new feat of strength suplex on a consistent basis. I've seen him do this suplex where his opponent is outside the ring. He's on the second turnbuckle, and he suplexes. In this particular case, Sheamus from the outside of the ring back inside of the ring. Now, I'm doing the gesture like this is a video podcast, but for those who've seen more than one wrestling match, you know what a suplex is, and you know what inside the ring and outside of the ring is. So if you can't do the math on that, I can't help you. Shout out to Bill Burr. All right, keep it going. Cesaro wins. Cesaro wins the match in England against an Irishman with the German suplex. Meditate on that. Match is over. Sheamus offers a handshake to Cesaro. So Cesaro feigns like he's going to do the handshake and just go ahead and sidesteps him and keeps it moving. Sheamus looks stupid, and Paul Heyman and Cesaro has a great laugh behind it. And so did I, because it was pretty hilarious. Next match, we had Big E versus Ryback in the first Beat the Clock Challenge match. Now, the stipulation to this was the winner of the Beat the Clock Challenge goes on to face Wade Barrett at Payback for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, it was good to see Big E in the mix of things again, because frankly, since he's turned face, he's, I feel like they've mismanaged my homie Big E. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Big E, I met him down here in Tampa, where is the city of where the undisclosed location of the Wrestling With Smarks studio is located, and I met Big E in person, and he was a very cool cat, very humble. Shook my hand, hollered at me for a second. It was all right. And he didn't disrespect the former backyard champion, which I liked. He showed respect to those who helped pave the way for him, such as myself. Great kid. Anyway, he beat Sheamus to set the time for the Beat the Clock Challenge of 5 minutes and 2 seconds. 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Gotta edit that out because 5 minutes and 2 seconds. After that, Xavier Woods and R-Truth hit the ring with the twerkadactyls. The funkadactyls. I'm not really sure what the whole purpose was this, because I don't know if I just tuned out or what. I just know Fandango ended up coming out, and then him and Layla L are tonguing each other down in the middle of the ring, and then next thing you know, Summer Rae, she makes her return tonight on Monday Night Raw. She makes her way down to the ring. She grabs Fandango, breaks up the session or whatever. And I'm thinking she's about to slap the taste out of his mouth. And what she does, she puts her tongue in his mouth. Now, Vicky Vine, she's not big on watching PDAs. And so what did you think when you saw all of this transpire? Just all this tonguing and stuff going on. I mean, I thought it was kind of hot myself, but, it's neither here nor there. What were your thoughts on it?
I just saw spit and slobbering tongues everywhere.
Oh, man. Yeah. French kissing in England. While the Swiss Cesaro beats the Irishman with a German suplex. Sorry. Anyway. So, after that happens, naturally a cat fight breaks out. Layla L and Summer Rae start rolling around on the mat, and then Raw goes to commercial. The next comes out is one of my favorite segments of the night. Daniel Bryan's music hits. All right, so Flight of the Valkyries, whatever. Yes. Out comes Stephanie McMahon, skipping and chanting yes. Oh man, I got to admit, Stephanie has really stepped up her troll game over the years, because Oh man, that that had me dying. So she hits the ring and cuts a promo, and then they play a clip of they she teases that she has some news for Daniel Bryan, and then they play a cut of a montage of Wade Barrett. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. Now, as bad as you think that impersonation was, Stephanie's was 10 times worse. But it was bad in a good way. It was so hilarious. So she told Daniel Bryan that she had some bad news. And the bad news was not that she was going to strip him of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but that she expected him to come to Raw next week and surrender the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. She expects the champion, because let's face it, he's going to be out for a while due to neck surgery. So she expects him to come out and, I guess, do what's best for business, air quotes. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure shenanigans will ensue from that. Do you think Daniel Bryan should surrender the title since he's going to be out for a while? Or?
Of course not. He worked for it, he keeps it, and he loses it fair and square.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
So cute. So after that, 3MB comes out, and they're dressed in, was it Captain Jack or whatever England calls their flag. They got their thing, the flag of England on their tights, and out comes Lana to introduce Rusev. All right, settle down. Now, now we all know how this is going to go. Rusev is on the rise, and in the ring is 3MB. So it's no mystery that somebody is, as Mark Henry's theme song says, somebody is going to get their ass whooped. On this particular occasion, it's going to be Heath Slater. So Heath Slater is getting ground into clam chowder, and JBL delivers the line of the night when he says, JBL says Heath Slater might become a hologram like Michael Jackson at the Billboard Awards. And basically that's what happens, because Rusev annihilates him and pins him 1, 2, 3. And yeah, we'll see where they go with Rusev. When I see Rusev, it makes me feel bad for Ryback, because that he could have been having a type of build and Rusev, a type of build and run that Rusev is having, but for some reason he just can't shake the whole Goldberg thing, and then he got mismanaged at a time where CM Punk was the champion, but he was just holding the belt for Rock and Cena, and then Ryback got buried in the process, and maybe I shouldn't say buried, but he was mismanaged. Ryback is all right. So hopefully they won't do the same here with Rusev. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Shield cuts a promo about Evolution. After that, it's another Beat the Clock challenge match. We have Alberto Del Rio versus Rob Van Dam. It was a pretty good, decent match. Nothing really stuck out too much. I didn't make any notes of it other than RVD won with a roll-up with 40 seconds to spare. So, Bye bye Big E. He's eliminated from the Beat the Clock Challenge, and Rob Van Dam is now the front runner. After that, John Cena cuts a promo in regards to his match about Luke Harper later on in the evening. He says that Usos will be watching his back and make sure that there's no shenanigans at the match from the rest of the members of the Wyatt family. Then they start doing this thing where they're beating on their chests and humming, or, whatever they was doing. It was different. So anyway, some more stuff to edit. So Evolution is backstage next, and basically we find out that Batista is going to be facing Seth Rollins. After that, Seth Rollins, he hits the ring solo, and everyone finds out that everyone is banned from ringside. But are they? So, alright, sorry I got distracted. Vicky Vine, for some reason, decided to whip out her phone in the middle of my podcast. What were you thinking, Vicky Vine?
Oh, I was doing some research for the show.
Good answer. Triple H theme song music is King of Kings theme song, which basically means he's in boss mode. Except he's in boss mode and he's in Triple H mode. He comes out and announces that even though everyone is banned for ringside, that he will be the special guest ring announcer. Shenanigans. So after he announces that he will be the special guest ring announcer, he then proceeds to announce the special guest timekeeper. Guess who the special guest timekeeper is? Randy Orton. Shocker. So that was... I gotta give the McMahon-Hemsley era part 2 credit for the LOLs on the troll tonight, because I was in stitches with after we're told everybody's banned from ringside. Batista has his whole crew out there with him, and then something weird happens. Apparently Seth Rollins must got a job in the HR department or something, or he's the new executive vice president of talent relations, or he's something, because he gets on the mic and announces that there will be special guest special guest color commentators. Now, when I say that, you already know. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. So here comes the Shield. They come out, they get mic'd up. Now, it was really confusing. Of all the people between Triple H and Seth Rollins, Triple H really does have power. So how does he allow this to go on? He just looks helpless like a little baby. Like, oh, well, I can't do anything, Seth, so I guess I'll just have to sit here and pace around the ring and look angry. Dang it. So, anyway, Seth and Batista, they end up having a pretty good match. Seth, he is the growth that, I don't know if it's the growth or just that the fact that he's been allowed to shine more in the Shield or whatever, but this dude he's going to be a big player down the road. He's going to change the game of professional wrestling. All right, after a little back and forth, Seth doing his thing, Batista doing his thing, they're beating the snot out of each other. The match ends in a DQ when Triple H hits Seth Rollins. He punches him in the face from the outside, basically, and the ref calls for the bell. Once again, just how do you disqualify How do you disqualify your boss's friend right in front of your boss? I don't know, but I don't know. Triple H went from being a overbearing Vince McMahon Jr. on screen to being to tonight. He's just like, oh, he's getting walked over by the referee and Seth Rollins. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. After that, Alicia Fox comes out and defeats Paige in her home country, and Alicia Fox is another one who's really surprised some people and stepped her game up, wrestling wise, and just getting reaction from the crowd. Tonight, she went a little over the top with it, because after she beat Paige, she went to ringside and got up on the announce table and started acting all crazy, grabbed Jerry the King Lawler's crown and put that on, and then she grabbed somebody's cup of Coke and poured it all over her face and her chestises and stuff, and it was very, very bizarre and hilarious at the same time. So keep a lookout for Alicia Fox. I hope WWE doesn't squander her. It would be good to see someone like Alicia Fox get a run with the WWE Divas Championship. Now, you love the Divas Championship, Vicky Vine, so who would you like to see on top of the Divas division?
I think it's pretty good that they gave Alicia Fox some time to hold on to the championship.
I agree. If it would definitely be she would definitely make a good person for the current Divas champion Paige to chase for the championship. I think Alicia has a pretty good run in her. Hopefully, the bookers over at WWE will see that and do the right thing. That's what I would do, and that's what Vicky Vine would do, and she's a girl. All right, so let's see what happened next. Let me go back to my notes. Yes, Mark Henry versus Dolph Ziggler in another Beat the Clock challenge. Now, I was a huge Mark Henry fan. I'm all about the Hall of Pain. I'm all about this is what I do. I'm all about the world's strongest slam. I've almost even world's strongest slam Vicky Vine a few times. I'm all about that. When he was the world heavyweight champion, it was probably the best thing. It was probably one of the best things going on in the company at that particular time. So now to see him as a face and to see him get squandered in matches like these, and him to, I don't know, sucks. So anyway, he faces Dolph Ziggler in another Beat the Clock challenge, and the new time to beat established by Rob Van Dam is 4 minutes and 15 seconds, as it's officially said at this time. And it was a decent match. As time was winding down, like 30 seconds to go, Mark Henry began to stall, and it was kind of annoying because I'm like, it's 30 seconds, Mark, come on, let's do this. So he finally tries to go for the world's strongest slam or whatever with like 10 seconds to go. Dolph Ziggler counters it. He hits the zigzag with like 3 seconds to go, and then the match is over because they don't beat the time. I mean, that was pretty annoying. I don't know if that was supposed to go like that, or Mark Henry or somebody just had a brain fart. But if that was me, if I was in a Beat the Clock challenge, I'd have been all over Ziggler, kicking him in his blonde head. Anyway, What do you prefer, Vicky Vine, blondes or brunettes?
I like blondes.
I am not a blonde.
Oh, brunette. My bad.
Don't make me go with Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, though, you Vicky Vine. Elizabeth! Sorry. Alright. So, after that, Rob Van Dam comes out. He's introduced officially as the number one contender for Bad News Barrett's Intercontinental Championship for their match at Payback. So after that, Bad News Barrett comes out, gives the bullhammer to Rob Van Dam from behind, knocks him out cold, and he cuts a promo. He cuts a promo basically as a face in London because he didn't crap on him in his own hometown, and he cuts a promo and he caps it off by saying that there is no way this Englishman is going to lose to a bloody Yank. And then the British Bulldog music hits and he stands there holding up his championship, celebrating, and the London crowd, the London England crowd, is eating it up like tea and crumpets. Anyway, so after that, Adam Rose and a bunch of weirdos come out dancing and prancing around for a few minutes, cutting a promo with Renee Young, and mercifully Zeb Coulter comes out and tells the crowd to shut up. And I love Zeb. Him and the big hoss, we the people! They come out and Zeb challenges Adam Rose to a fight or whatever. He says he's going to tell Big Hoss to get to the side. That's Jack Swagger, for those who can't read his jacket. And he wants the rabbit that JBL hates and the rest of the weirdos to get to the side, and they going to get it in. They going to work it out and throw them hands. I just went a little hood for y'all who don't speak hood. Anyway, so Adam Rose looks like he's going to consent to this and, get owned by Zeb Coulter right quick. My man Jack Swagger, he comes in from the side, blindsides Adam Rose, and then, Adam Rose falls out of the ring, whatever, and Big Hoss, he starts intimidating the bunny rabbit and some dude in a bright pink jacket or suit or whatever it was. And then Adam comes back and, puts his paws on him, and then the segment is over. Now, the last match of the evening is John Cena versus Luke Harper. John Cena has the Usos in his corner, and, of course, Luke Harper isn't going anywhere without Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan. I gotta say, this was a great match. Luke Harper, that dude, he might look like a greasy homeless man, but he can really go in that ring. He has great psychology. He knows his way around the ring. He can put on a great match, and when I get to the end, he does some things in the ring like he's been there for years, including later on tonight, he throws John Cena's shoe, which I almost peed on myself. I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, they have a pretty good match. Cena has Harper in the STF. Rowan gets on the ring apron. Here comes the one of the Uso brothers. He hits the ring, hit him with a flying kick to the chest or the chin, knocks him off the apron. And the other Uso, he runs up onto the guardrail, runs along it, and does a flying crossbody onto Eric Rowan and Bray Wyatt, who are outside the ring. But Rowan, he caught the brunt of it basically, because Bray, he then hits the ring. He catches the first Uso with the Sister Abigail. Then the other Uso comes in. He catches him with the Sister Abigail. He's getting ready to nail Cena. He runs at him. Cena pulls down the top rope. Bray, with his own momentum, sends himself over the top rope. And then Cena hits the AA onto Harper. And right after he did that, what's his name? Rowan re-enters the ring and he attacks Cena, triggering the disqualification. After that, pretty much Cena gets beat down. He takes his sister Abigail in the ring. They knock him outside the ring, beat him down, heading up the emergency. Beat him down, heading up the entrance ramp. And then when they get to the top of it, the crowd's shouting one more time, and Bray, the charismatic leader of the Wyatt family, happily obliges, and Sister Abigail's John Cena right out of his shoe. And yeah.
Pretty funny.
Oh, it was hilarious. I almost peed on myself, like I said. So after Cena gets dropped on his noggin, Harper, he takes his shoe and I don't know. I'm guessing he threw it into the crowd or something, but it happened off screen, and he threw it off screen or whatever. And then he starts counting to 10 to foreshadow that that's what's going to happen at their last man standing match at Payback. So I gotta say that the match was pretty. It was a great match. Cena did his thing. Luke Harper, man, that guy, he's a big guy, and he looks like a bum, but the dude can go. So we'll see what type of future he has outside of the Wyatt family, because unfortunately, WWE doesn't always maximize their best talent to the best of their abilities. And on that note, I'm going to wrap up the podcast early this week. I had a few more segments planned out, but this podcast is running up on an hour, and I originally planned it to do 30 minutes. So I just want to thank everyone for bearing with me and checking out the very first inaugural Wrestling with Smarks podcast found at wrestlingwithsmarks.com. I want to thank the lovely, beautiful Vicky Vine for joining us this evening.
You're welcome.
And check us out next week for a next episode of wrestlingwithsmarks.com.
Bye, everybody.